All right, hey, we're live here at the Nevada State Chili Kickoff, and from lovely Prump, Nevada. And let's go ahead and take a look down here. And there we are. Hey, there's me, like, moving stuff around and looking at stuff. Hey. So, anyway, we're live here, and it's a real exciting day today. And we're down here just a ways off of it. The Chili Cook-Off is actually off to our right. And we're down here primarily because we've been doing live interviews. And you got people playing, like, record music and stuff down over by the Chili Cook-Off, which, of course, YouTube doesn't like that. So we're down over here. We've been doing some interviews, did some yesterday. Had a good time, talked to a lot of people. I grabbed a whole bunch of subscribers. I was really happy about that. Gave away some free merchandise, some Carl's YouTube channel hats with the Trump 2020 logo on it, the same hat I'm wearing right now, in fact. That's the hat I'm wearing. But anyway, we got some news to cover, and we got the live call-in available here as well. So if anybody wants to call in, and it's an open topic when it comes to calling in. I mean, I talk, as you guys know, I talk about certain issues, and I do certain things, but anything you want to talk about, it kind of broadens the discussion. I'm very happy to discuss anything, as long as it's along the lines of news and politics, but it pretty much can be about anything. So, hey, let's get right to it. We'll get to what's going on in the news. So let's go ahead and cut away here, and I'm going to take down, let's see, let's go and take this down here, and we'll cut away over here. All right, this is an interesting story. Trump, this is regarding Trump. And he says, last in his class, John McCain, McCain gave Dossier to FBI, media to undermine White House bid. And, he hated the guy so much that, obviously he didn't check out the dossier to make sure what was in there was true. He didn't make any phone calls over to Russia and say, hey, is this thing true? No. He probably knew most of it was false, but he didn't care. He just hated Donald Trump so much. Remember, this is the guy also, when they were voting on to repeal Obamacare, you know, he had been yelling about repealing Obamacare, for years. We got to repeal it. It's awful. I mean, he gave President Obama a tough time when he's even trying to pass it back in 2009, in 2010. And, here's this big chance to vote, to repeal it. But he hated, even you saw Graham talking to him, McConnell talking to him on the floor that it was late at night, saying, hey, what are you doing? Man, this is it. We have a chance to repeal this. We can save, millions of Americans, lots and lots of money by getting rid of this. This is good for the American people. He didn't care. He didn't care about the American people. He cared about himself, his own ego, his own pride, and he was so mad that that Trump took the one thing away from him that he had, which was that he was a war hero. When Trump came out and said, well, he's a warrior because he got shot down. He's a war hero because he's a war hero because he was tortured inside of a prisoner of war camp. Does that makes him a war hero? Well, there are lots of war heroes that went through far worse than he he did, because by all accounts, he actually gave it up pretty quick to the North Vietnamese. There's actually a radio spot with him where he's quote unquote confessing to the sins of America, and plus, according to some reports, he also gave up information, because intelligence information regarding the squadron and things like that, because he didn't want to get tortured. So I mean, there's the truth of it, and well, I don't know if that's the absolute truth, but that's just reports and stuff. So Trump says, well, gee, he's not a hero, and he hated that so much. That's the only thing he had going for him. I mean, he married a rich wife, God bless him, but I mean, so he married a rich wife, and probably because she thought, hey, this guy could be president someday, and I get to be first lady, but that obviously didn't happen. So I mean, well, he ran a really bad campaign, and that was Steve Schmidt and Nicole Wallace. I mean, they weren't the two of them were not on the same page ever. Steve Schmidt didn't do any kind of vetting whatsoever of Sarah Palin. He was just throwing the deep ball because he didn't know what else to do. And Steve Schmidt, you hear him regularly. He was regularly criticizing the Trump campaign in 2016, saying there's no way they're going to win, and he was predicting Hillary was going to get somewhere around like 350 electoral college votes. Well, I think she got 120. But he was so mad that somebody could actually win where he couldn't. Because Steve Schmidt was the guy in charge of the campaign, in charge of a losing campaign, and of course, then here comes he figured, well, if the next Republican loses, then I'm kind of off the hook. And then Romney lost. He wasn't my fault, but then Trump wins. And it's like, oh, well, and everybody's going back, well, how come you didn't win in 2008? How was Trump able to win in 2016? Well, so he's got a lot of explaining to do, and that's why during the 2016 campaign, Steve Schmidt was going around saying, oh, Hillary's going to blow him away, it's over. Anybody who thinks Trump is going to win, like it was like the 2 weeks ago, anybody who thinks Trump is going to win is, stupid, because that whole, grab the women by, their vagina comment was out there. And he thought that was the be all end all. Well, he obviously doesn't understand American politics and doesn't understand the American people very well. So, and he's been bad mouthing Trump ever since, and everything's a disaster for him, and this, that. Nicole Wallace, the same thing. She goes on and bad mouths, Trump. They both appear regularly on MSNBC. I think Nicole Wallace actually has her own show on MSNBC because I think, she was more successful than he was because she, bad mouthed him, more. So there you go. But let me go to put something in the chat here. Okay. Boom. Hey. So anyway, calling number 775-273-8970. Again, 775-273-8970. That's our calling number. So let's get to this story. This is, again, rather, just, again, he didn't vet this dossier. He just started peddling it. He had his aide start peddling it, and he's putting all this information out there about the guy running for president. Then he even tried peddling it, had his aide peddle it after Donald Trump was elected. To do what? To get him impeached, to get him kicked out of office, to make his administration unable to get anything done. And then, and again, the president fails, this country fails. I mean, he's the guy at the top. So if he can't get anything done as far as regulations, getting rid of regulations, if he can't be out there negotiating with China and North Korea and the European Union and Mexico and Canada and the Philippines, South Korea, Japan, if he loses his credibility with these people who can't negotiate on our behalf to make our lives better, again, John McCain didn't care about the American people. He only cared about John McCain. And even when he was getting ready to die, he had to take more swipes at the president. Then his daughter did that disgusting, if you call it, eulogy at the funeral. Just totally bad mouthing Trump again. And he goes, I'm not inviting Trump to my funeral. I'm not inviting the president. Well, you never got to be president because let's be honest, this guy was a warmonger. I mean, this guy was gonna go to war with Iran for sure. I have no doubt in my mind. If we had elected John McCain in 2008, we would have gone to war with Iran. And the Iranians are not the Iraqis. They were not going to lay down and put their guns down. They weren't going to do that. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing actually he didn't get elected. Let me turn that up a little bit. Okay, down. There we go. But it's a good thing it's a good thing he didn't get elected because it would have been war with Iran. And then remember also Georgia and Azerbaijan, that whole civil war with the Russians involved, and he says we're all Georgians. Like he's going to side with the Georgians against the Russians, and we're going to send troops over there, get involved in a land war in Russia. Ask everybody else who's done that how well that's worked out. Ask Adolf Hitler, ask Napoleon, ask them, ask the Swedes from before then how well that worked out. It doesn't. You're gonna fight Russia. You're gonna go on their home turf and fight them over there. I mean, I don't know what this guy was. This guy was just trying to get his glory back, or actually get some glory, because again, he knew he had to stand on his reputation from the Vietnam War, where even before Trump came along, there were talk and rumors about what he had done when he was in the prisoner of war camp, and he graduated last in his class at Annapolis. I mean, he was a terrible student. He crashed plane after plane after plane, even before. I mean, when Jon Stewart was funny, did a skit on that. Hey, GT, how you doing? Hey, Mr. GT, see you out there. Let's see, I'll do a shout out there. Doing good, Mr. Oh, sorry about that. Didn't mean to scream right into the mic like that. Doing good, Mr. GT. Welcome aboard, and we're live from the Silver State Chili Cook-Off here in Pahrump. But yeah, I was just talking about John McCain and this headline here. Trump last in his class. McCain gave Dossier to FBI media and to undermine the White House bid. And so let's take a look down here and see where we got. Let's see. All right, and let's take a look here. Let's see. Let me just see how we're doing up here. Oh, that's good. Excellent. You were out in the field here, so it's a little bit different than my house. So, but yeah, working out really good. All right, so let's take a look and see. President Trump said Sunday the late Senator John McCain gave the controversial dossier to the FBI and media, hoping it would be printed before the election in an attempt to work with Democrats to defeat Mr. Trump in 2016. Again, he would rather see Hillary Clinton get elected president of the United States with all of her bad policies and everything else. He'd rather see Hillary Clinton get elected in 2016 than Donald Trump. And all the judges she was going to appoint, the Supreme Court, U.S. District Court judges, Circuit Court of Appeals, her trade policy, her immigration policy, he was okay with that as long as Donald Trump didn't get elected. He put his own personal ego, his own personal pride, his own hurt feelings over the American people, which is what he did in his military career also. He didn't want to be in the military, but he had to. He had his father was an admiral, his grandfather was an admiral. He had no choice, but he never wanted to be in the Navy, But they got him to be a fighter bomber pilot. I think he flew F-4s, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, he didn't want to be there. He would have been happy just sitting around doing nothing. And then he marries a rich wife, so he doesn't have to do anything else after that. And remember, he got caught up in the whole Keating 5 scandal, and somehow he managed to skate out of that when everybody else was going to prison. Yeah, I wonder how that happened. But anyway, so Mr. Trump has denied the information detailed in the unverified and salacious dossier that it's accurate. Well, actually, yeah, because just learned that Steele, the guy who, the former MI6 agent who was, going around being a jerk, one, he never went to Moscow to confirm any information in the dossier, and two, he just admitted in a deposition, because he's being sued for slander and libel in England, he just had to admit in a deposition that some of the information he put in that dossier came from, like, what do you say, like tabloid journalism. In other words, National Enquirer stuff. And he just stuck it in there. And then he said it came from, and then he told everybody, the FBI and everybody, it came from a Russian source. Now that doesn't let the FBI off the hook, because the FBI never independently verified this guy who was selling it. This guy was doing it for a profit. It wasn't like MI6 was doing the investigation. This guy had been retired from MI6 or fired. Nobody really knows the true story on that. MI6 obviously isn't telling anybody why he was no longer with MI6, but he was a young guy. So my guess is he probably got fired, or who knows why, or he was allowed to resign. And so anyway, he got sued for libel because in the dossier he mentioned some guy's name, who was a British citizen. They sued him, and they were trying to knock the case out. But the judge said, no, this is going forward with discovery, and we're going to find out what's going on. So this guy admitted that, one, he never went to Moscow to confirm any of the stuff in the dossier. Two, some of it he just got from the tabloids and just stuck it in there. And then, of course, again, that doesn't let the FBI off the hook. Oh, the chili's actually really good, GT. It's they got verde and all kinds of different chilies. There's like 6 different types of chili they cook, and each category has a separate event. And what they do is they turn in by certain times, like by 10 o'clock they got to turn this chili in, and by 11:30 this chili, and by 1:30 this chili, and that kind of stuff. And then they all test it, and then of course they have the judging and stuff, and they get points based on that. And then they yesterday awarded the winner in the Silver State competition, I believe. And today is the Nevada State competition. There's actually 2 different chili cook-offs. Yesterday was Silver State, and today is the Nevada State. And I'm not sure if you saw the video, but I went and went mobile, if you will, and went around to the different booths for the guys who were actually making the chili. And they were telling me, these guys, they do like 100 of these events a year. I mean, this is a big deal. They travel all over the country to do these big chili cook-offs. And it takes them like about 4. I think the limit on time, how much time they can use to cook, also to make it all even and fair. And I think he said it was like 3.5 hours for the cooking process or something like that. But like this is it's a really big deal. It was really good that Trump we were able to get it here, in our city. We're only about 37,000 people, so it was really cool. A lot of Trump supporters out and about. Where I live here in Nye County, Nevada, 3rd largest county geographically in the country. And it's actually a very small population, but 3rd largest. And 2016, it was 80% vote for Donald Trump in 2016. So a lot of people coming by and talking to me and stuff, and talking pro-Trump. I got the pro-Trump flag on the side of the Trump 2020 flag, the big one banner on the side of the outside of the canopy that I'm sitting in right now. So yeah, it's really a good time out here. They got music playing. I got to kind of stay away from the music and stuff, and so I even here I got the gain turned way down just so it's keeping the music from blasting over YouTube. So got to be real careful with that. But yeah, good time and stuff. But yeah, the Steele dossier. I mean, The FBI never checked it out either. And it was, like I said, I was talking about this, I think, this week sometime. And Bruce Orr, who, we all thought this guy's an asshole because his wife Nellie worked for Fusion GPS and he was trying to pass his dossier along like it was true. And then his actual testimony was like, no, I told the FBI, I said, hey, man, this is from like this company that is contracted with the Clinton campaign to get opposition research. And my wife works over there, by the way. And that's how I got my hands on it. So he was like totally honest with the FBI. And he said, so you told the FBI, look, this isn't verified. This is like op research. This might not even be true. And the FBI's like, oh well, I'm sure it's good. Well, he's like, no, you might want to, because he didn't want to get in trouble. Because I mean, the obvious conflict is right there in your face. His wife works for the company. He's turning it over to him. So he wanted to make sure he was clear with everybody. And then Andrew McCabe in his book, he kind of left out that meeting he had with Bruce Orr and Lisa Page when Bruce Orr just kind of disclosed, hey, you might want to check this out. And this dossier is what started the whole counter intel investigation, which was BS, which everybody knew was BS, but they were just trying to look for some dirt in the insurance policy if he got elected, and then try to take him out after he got elected. I mean, this is like really scandalous. It's too bad we don't have a fair mainstream media because, just switch the parties on this. I mean, this would be 24/7. I mean, they'd be going after everybody. But I mean, no, they just say, oh, this is, and they say, oh, Mueller in Russia. But I mean, nobody's going after the FBI or Department of Justice. Nobody in the mainstream media. They're saying, oh, that Trump's just doing that to distract. Well, no, this is really serious stuff. I mean, they start a counter intel investigation and use the FISA court, which is supposed to be designed to use to prevent terrorism acts in the country. And they're using that to spy on Carter Page so they can go 3 steps, 4 steps, 6 steps from him and listen to every phone call that he talked to John Smith. John Smith talked to Bill Jones. Bill Jones talked to Lewandowski. Lewandowski talked to Kelly Conway. Kelly Conway talks to Donald Trump, and they get to listen to that phone call with Donald Trump. Again, they just needed a hook to get into the Trump campaign. It could have been anybody. They found Carter Page. He had been on their radar a couple of years earlier, but even the Russians thought he was kind of like, there's something wrong with him. But, he's a brilliant guy. I mean, he went to Annapolis himself, and he didn't graduate on the bottom of his class. I think he graduated near the top, if not the top. So, I mean, but nobody's looking at this, and it's a real shame. So this goes on to say, let's see. According to several reports, McCain didn't hand over the dossier to the FBI until after the 2016 election in December. It was circulated to the media through one of McCain's aides, David Kramer, after the election. Report, Christopher Steele backed up his Democrat and crooked Hillary. I guess this is Trump saying this. This is a tweet Trump put out. Report, Christopher Steele backed up his Democrat and crooked Hillary paid for fake and unverified dossier with information he got from send-in watchers of low-rating CNN. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Oh, no, it's a pretty good size right there. Okay, CNN. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. Let me read that again. Report, Christopher Steele backed up his Democrat and crooked Hillary paid for fake and unverified dossier with information he got from send-in watchers of low-rating CNN. This is the info that got us the witch hunt, Mr. Trump tweeted Sunday. And then he goes on. So it was indeed just proven in court papers, last in his class. He's making fun of McCain, saying McCain's last in his class at Annapolis. John McCain that sent the fake dossier to the FBI and media, hoping to have it printed before the election. He and the Dems working together failed, as usual. Even the fake news refused this garbage, he added. That's true. Everybody was turning it down until BuzzFeed did it in January. And the only reason why BuzzFeed reported it because they finally had a hook they could report it with. Namely, Jim Clapper told Comey, brief Trump on this dossier, not all of it, and don't even tell him where it came from. Just say, we have this and some information. So then Comey goes back, yeah, I did it. So then Clapper leaked to BuzzFeed that the president was briefed on this dossier, and that's how BuzzFeed was able to legitimately publish this. Because Clapper and Comey were working together to make sure that the president was briefed on it, so they could say the president was briefed on this document. Because before then, even CNN turned it down. CNN, I want to say MSNBC, I'm not sure if MSNBC got their hands on it, I'm sure they did, but everybody turned it down. Washington Post turned it down, I know that. I know the New York Times turned it down. Because they're like, well, no, this is garbage. We're not going to use this. But then BuzzFeed, once they got the hook that Clapper, the president had been briefed, that gave it legitimacy. That, in other words, if the FBI director is briefing the president on that, it makes the document legitimate and appear to be credible. Anyway, the tweets came after Mr. Steele admitted in a recently released deposition to using unreliable posts from citizen journalists through a public website hosted by CNN in order to support the claims in his dossier. The president also took a swipe Saturday against McCain, citing former special counsel Ken Starr, who called the dossier a dark stain on the late Arizona senator in a television interview. Spreading the fake, spreading the fake and totally discredited dossier is unfortunately a very dark stain against John McCain, Ken Starr, former independent counsel. He had far worse stains than this, including thumbs down on repeal and replace after years of campaigning to repeal and replace. Right. Mr. Trump tweeted Saturday. The move prompted McCain's daughter Meghan McCain to respond. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay. No one will ever love you the way they love my father. Oh, Jesus. Oh, now she says, oh, nobody loves you like they love my dad. Really? No, your dad was an asshole. In fact, until he was anti-Trump, nobody liked him. I mean, that's one of the reasons why he lost. Everybody forgets that's one of the reasons why he lost in 2008. He wasn't a likable guy. I mean, and the media hated him. The media thought he was an idiot. The media thought he was a warmonger. I mean, I was there in 2008. I watched that entire campaign. And let me tell you, the media thought he was stupid, he was dumb, he was a warmonger, he was out of touch, he was mean, he was angry, he was arrogant. That's the way the media portrayed him. The media only started talking good about John McCain when President Trump was running for office in 2016 and put down John McCain. That was it. Before then, the media had nothing good to say about him. And nobody loved him. And just because somebody died doesn't mean you should love him. More so than when he's alive. Sorry, the act of dying gets you to be loved. Well, first of all, I'm not willing to do that to get loved, but still, that's ridiculous. So anyway, she writes, no one will ever love you the way they love my father. No, they never loved your father. Okay, get over it. I wish I had been given more Saturdays with him. Well, maybe you should have spent some more time with him. Was something keeping you away from him? Maybe he didn't want to spend time with you. Maybe you're just an idiot. Maybe, maybe he didn't, I guess he didn't love you that much because he didn't want to spend time with you because, obviously you could have got on a plane. Your mom's rich. You could have flown out to see him anytime you wanted, but I guess you were busy, I don't know, eating a lot of pizzas and stuff that, get you overweight. I don't know. I wish I had been given more Saturdays with him. Maybe spend yours with your family instead of on Twitter obsessing over mine, she tweeted. Well, she needs to obsess over her weight. That woman, that's a big woman. There's no reason for her to be heavy. Her mom's not, fat. Her mom's a good-looking lady. You can tell. Mom keeps herself in shape, and Megan just, of course, she fits right in on the View. Let's put it that way. Okay, 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Senator Amy Klobuchar also defended the late senator. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, Klobuchar and McCain, they have so much in common. Yeah, sure they would have. I'm sure they would have always voted the same way in the Senate. Okay, and then she goes on to say, this is just another outrageous action by the president. John McCain was a war hero. Again, how so? He didn't want to be in Vietnam. He was forced to go to Vietnam. He didn't want to be he didn't want to go to Annapolis. He was forced to go to Annapolis. He didn't want to be in the Navy. He was forced to be in the Navy. And that's just the way it was. If he didn't do any of those things, his family would have written him off. He would have not got a dime from any of them. He would have been poor and homeless. He'd have been on the side of the road, asking for, spare change. Really. That's it. John McCain was a war hero, she told CNN, adding, turning over the dossier to the FBI was the right thing to do. No, if you have some information and you can check it out yourself, then you can turn it over to the FBI. Anyway, we have somebody walking up here. How you doing, sir? Would like a free Carl's Opinion hat, and it says Trump 2020 on it.
Free?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you take the dark blue or light blue, whatever you want.
Thank you.
Sure thing. And does your wife want one, or?
Want a hat? Free.
You want a hat? Carl's Opinion and Trump 2020. There you go. Excuse me a second. Hey, let me cut that off for you, the tag there. I'll get it for you. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to cut this tag off. Be right back. She want one too, sir? Yeah, here we go. Thank you. I've had it for a while, but I've only really started in earnest like the last couple of months. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really enjoy doing it. There you guys go.
So are you from around Cookoff?
Yeah, definitely from around here. Here, let me just cut this off. Okay, guys, we're gonna be right back in a couple of seconds. So just bear with me. I'm gonna throw some music on here for you. All right. Let's see. Let's cut off the audio here. Hey everybody, it's Carl again. Carl's opinion. Sorry, I had some people come up, but that's what we're doing down here. We're meeting and greeting people here at the Nevada State chili cook-off. So yeah, so we're gonna have some a lot, people coming up and stuff, and giving out the Carl's opinion YouTube hats with the Trump 2020 logo emblazoned on it. And let's see. In fact, there's the hat right there. Carl's Opinion, YouTube channel, Trump 2020. So, yeah, so having a good time down here and a lot of great people down here to meet, talk to. So, again, we got the live call in show going on right now. It's area code 775 273 8970. If anybody wants to call in, please feel free. And as soon as I can find my cigarettes, be able to light one up. Ah, here they are. Yay. So you're out in the field here today. We brought the whole computer setup and everything so we could do the production. I could have brought the phone, and I do have two dynamic mics and a device that actually allows you to use the two dynamic mics with the XLR to go into the Samsung S9. I mean, no, I'm sorry, Note 9. That's what I have. Samsung Note 9. But you don't get the you don't get to be able to do a lot of the production when you use the cell phone for live streaming YouTube versus using the desktop or the laptops. So okay, so anyway, so let's we'll get back to the story real quick here. This story is actually pretty good. All right, so we'll finish up this story here, and then how Meghan McCain is loving her father, which of course, whatever. But anyway, so here's Klobuchar saying, defending McCain and I guess his daughter. This is just another outrageous action by the president. John McCain was a war hero, she told CNN, adding, turning over the dossier to the FBI was the right thing to do. And then the president also suggested in a series of tweets Sunday the Federal Election Commission should investigate shows like Saturday Night Live since the late night entertainers often attack him but not the Democrats. Well, that's interesting. It's truly incredible that shows like Saturday Night Live, not funny, no talent, can spend all of their time knocking the same person, me, over and over without so much of a mention of the other side, like an advertisement without consequences. Same with late night shows, he tweeted. Should Federal Elections Commission or the FCC look into this? Well, that's not going to go anywhere, but I understand his point. There must be collusion. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. There must be collusion with the Democrats and, of course, Russia. Such one-sided media coverage, most of it fake news. Hard to believe I won and I'm winning. Approval rating, 52%, 93% with Republicans. Sorry, he added. Well, good for him. But anyway, we got another story here of the Wall Street Journal, and we'll get to that as well. And let's see here. And let's get to the Wall Street Journal story, and let's make sure that I'm lined up in the right place for this story here. Probably need to be on the other side. Hold on a sec. All right, so yeah, let's take a look at this story. Again, Wall Street Journal, Joe Biden. So what's the actual headline? Let's see. Biden edges closer to a presidential run in Delaware appearance. The vice president under Obama says the 2020 election will be the most important in more than a century. Wow. I don't know. They said the 2008 election was the most important, election ever. Then they said 2016 was the most important election ever. But I guess since Biden's running now, he says, well, this must be the most important election, 2020. So I guess 2008, the election of the first African-American president to the United States, well, that was kind of important, but it wasn't as important as Biden running in 2020. Yeah, well, I guess what's happening with that statement, that is kind of a slap a little bit towards President Obama. And I think the main reason for that is President Obama hasn't come out and endorsed Joe Biden. In fact, he was down there meeting with Beto O'Rourke, and after he talked to him, Beto, I guess, decided he was going to run. So, Obama is not endorsing Biden, and I don't think he's going to come out with a public endorsement of him. So Biden's saying, well, this is the most important election. 2008 was nothing. And Obama's like, hey, what the hell? But anyway, yeah, that's an interesting backstory. I guarantee you, well, I don't guarantee you, can't do that. But right now they're saying that Obama's not going to be coming out and endorsing Joe Biden. I mean, if he gets the nomination, then obviously he would. But they're saying he's not endorsing. So is he for Beto? Is he for Kamala Harris? Who's he for? We don't know. We'll find out. But we don't know right now, that's for sure. But all bets are appearing because Biden's been meeting with Obama, and that endorsement wasn't forthcoming. And I think he was kind of holding out, announcing. Well, he's holding out, announcing, let the field kind of show up, and then let them kind of trip over themselves for a few minutes before he jumps in to save the day. I mean, I get that; it's a good strategy. But he's also, I think, was holding out because he was hoping Obama would come out and endorse him, like he could do a campaign event, like an opening thing, and Obama would be there standing next to him when he announces his campaign. But that's not going to happen. It sounds like. I don't know if it does. It'd be interesting. But, okay, so let's see here. Biden edges closer to a presidential run in Delaware appearance. Vice President Obama says the 2020 election will be the most important in more than a century. Former Vice President Joe Biden said Saturday he has the most progressive record of anybody who would run for president. Dover, Delaware. Former Vice President Joe Biden edged closer to a third presidential bid on Saturday, telling Democratic activists in his home state that the 2020 election would be the most important in the century. Mr. Biden, who served 2 terms as President Obama's vice president, took the stage of the Delaware Democratic Party dinner to chants of "Run, Joe, Run." At one point, he noted that his push for reaching consensus had often garnered criticism from the New Left. Yep, see, he's playing for the center. I have the most progressive record of anybody running for, he said, stopping and catching himself. Anybody who would run. Well, he's always an idiot. Anyway, Mr. Biden laughed and then made a sign of the cross, reiterating of anybody who would run, as the crowd stood and applauded, like, yay, run, Joe, run. He said the nation has reached an inflection point under President Trump. I don't know what that is. Warning that the 2020 election is going to be the most important election this country has undergone in over 100 years. Well, let's see, 100 years. So let's say we can get rid of the Reagan election in 80. Let's see, the Bush-Gore election in 2000. I guess then, let's see, what else? The Nixon versus Humphrey election in 68. I guess that wasn't that important. Oh, I guess the Kennedy election in 1960. Well, that wasn't that big of a deal. See, I guess, let's see, Dwight Eisenhower winning in 52. Nope, that's not a big deal. I guess, century. So I guess Roosevelt winning in 1932. That wasn't the most important election. That didn't fundamentally change how this country does business. Really? Wow. Okay. Crazy serious. But anyway, but this one, because see, Joe Biden wasn't running in any of those. I mean, he was probably young. He's old enough where he could have run in many of those campaigns. You know, he's an old man. I mean, and he looks old. He looks weak and feeble, and he just doesn't look. He's not the same guy. I mean, yeah, he'll get out there and do some brash stuff, but you can tell he's just he's kind of old. He's old. He's older than Trump for sure. He's like 5, 6 years older than Trump, and he looks it too. Let's see. So Mr. Biden's appearance at a state Democratic Party dinner had all the trappings of a political pep rally, with party officials urging the former vice president to seek the White House. Mr. Biden previously sought the presidency in the 1988 and 2008 campaigns. Sonia Sloan, a lifelong activist receiving an award for his years of service to the party, noted that she had volunteered in every single one of Mr. Biden's campaigns since the 70s. I told him 2 weeks ago that I have one campaign left in me, she said. Campaigning in Iowa, former Texas Representative Beto O'Rourke welcomed Mr. Biden's looming entrance into the race. Yeah, I think we'd be very lucky to have Vice President Biden in this race, Mr. O'Rourke told a gathering at a house party in Dubuque, Iowa. Nah, I don't think he thinks that at all. I think he has a lot of expertise and perspective and experience to bring to bear on these problems. I think we're very lucky to have the other 13 contenders in this race. Yeah, I'm sure he's really happy that he's not just by himself. And Biden's going to grab the center-left, Kamala Harris, Booker, Sanders, Warren. They're grabbing the left. I don't know where Beto gets anything from, to be honest with you. I really, really don't know where Beto gets anything from. But anyway, that's what's going on here. So anyway, I'm going to cut away, and I may go off and do some recording of some of the chilies and stuff like that for everybody. And I just want to thank everybody who's been watching, and we'll be doing this throughout the day. So for Carl's Opinion, this is Carl. And if you like the video, please hit the like button. And if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Let me find some music for you guys to go out on. All right, take care. Bye bye.
Yours here right now, the kind of night we dream about. Oh, 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 it's beautiful. Yeah, time flies when you get it right, so hold on tight to me. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Stop, take a breath, close your eyes, remember this. Oh, 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 it's beautiful. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Time flies when you get it right, so hold on tight to me. Love like we never grew